Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. I'm your watch guy today, and today I've got something pretty interesting. I've got a Microbrand watch from Japan. Who knew that the Japanese could make watches? It's a new one on me. Anyway, this is a watch from a brand called Kuoe. Now, I hope I have pronounced that right. It's spelled Kuoe. If you'd like to check out their website, it is linked in the description. They make some really elegant and fantastic looking watches. Very vintage in style, very military inspired in some cases. I think that they have a really bright future. Now, this particular watch was funded on a Japanese crowdfunding site, and they raised 13 million yen in their crowdfunding effort. So it was popular. It was really popular. This particular model has had a change. I will talk to you about that, and it may be one that you expect, but we'll get into that. Now, this has been sent to me for free by Kuoe. I am really appreciative of that because I think this watch looks absolutely fantastic. Very much up my type of street. Obviously, this is what YouTube will call a paid promotion, so that's why you'll have seen that little sign up there. Just bear that in mind, but this will be a fully honest review. Now, if you like field watches with a nice vintage British military inspired background, this one's going to be for you. So let's turn this camera around and let's get into this review. So this is the Kuoe Old Smith 90002. They have a couple of other models on their website. If you'd like to check them out, again, I have linked it in the description. This one actually came with two NATO bands, this one and a similar one in black. Now, I've paired it up with this one because I think this khaki green really does suit it. There are some very key facts that we need to go through on this piece. Now, it is obviously very inspired by military field watches. It is inspired by British military field watches between the 30s and the 70s, and you can really see that. I have actually reviewed some military issue pieces from the British military, and you do get the same type of inspiration, I guess. Now, it is a fantastically built watch. I do really love this type of style. So simple yet so effective and elegant. That's the benefit to me for a field watch, and I have quite a few in my collection, including some really popular ones. This particular piece is packed with the NH35 movement. It is 35 millimeters in diameter, 13.6 millimeters thick, including that NATO. Now, I've included that NATO because that is all I had supplied on either choice of the NATO. It is 42.1 millimeters lug to lug, and these lugs are 18 millimeters wide. Now, I think that's going to be a really comfortable fit for a lot of people, especially people with wrist sizes like my own. A slimmer wrist person will definitely get along with this watch. I think that it fits perfectly to my wrist. It's so comfortable, so easy to wear. It's one of those watches that you really enjoy so much that you kind of forget that it's on your wrist. It kind of just blends into your day. You look down, you see it, and you're like, ah, very nice. Very nice. Now let's talk about the casing. It is all 316L stainless steel, and you can see that's a very high polish finish throughout. We have a oversized crown over to the side here. That is a screw down crown. It's quite thin, however, it's got really good levels of grip. It is also a signed crown. We have the Kuoe print there on the crown. First position is for the date, second position is for the time, and you can see the hacking capability there. Now, I will come back to the movement. As I say, this one is packed with the NH35. It is obviously a very simple case design, however, it is a very effective one too. I'm going to just pop this NATO off so we can have a closer look. We have quick release spring bars on this one. As I flip it around, you can see that we do have a screw down case back on the usual information around the outer edge. Now we have Old Smith 90002 mechanical on the back of this casing, and the usual information on the outer edge, as I said. A real feature of this piece is the domed crystal on this one. Now this one is a mineral crystal. Again, we'll come back to that later on in this review. I really love the type of aesthetic that this gives to the watch. I do like a mineral crystal. I do like a domed mineral crystal. A lot of you all know that my Grail watch is the Speedmaster, and well, Heslite mineral, not far from each other. However, that type of aesthetic, the really bulged type of out of the case aesthetic on these domed crystals, is just really, for me, that's very much aesthetically pleasing part of this watch for me. So this case together provides this watch with 100 meters of water resistance. For a field watch, I think that's more than acceptable. Often enough, you do get them with 50 meters or even 30 in some cases. So I think the screw down crown and the screw down case back has really done its job here. 100 meters is more than enough for a field watch. It's not something that you're taking in the water. It's not something that you're diving with. It's basically just splash proof, and that's all you need a field watch to be. Now, as we move into the dial itself, you can see that it does have a slight texture. Now we have applied our numerals around the dial. Very easy, very legible dial, this one. As you'd expect from a field watch, that is the exact type of thing that you need it for. We have Arabic numerals throughout. Up at 12 o'clock, we have the Kuoe logo, followed by Kyoto, and mechanical at the 6 down here. Japan made, very proudly printed either side of the 6 o'clock. We see a lot of Japan movement, but not that much Japan made, obviously in the Microbrand world. Now, if we're talking about the big boy world, it's quite a popular thing to see, isn't it? We do have a date window on this one. It is not colour matched to the dial, but I think they kind of get away with this because of the simple design. All the numerals are white print, and they do come slightly off the dial. You can see that they are applied, and they do have a little bit of depth to that dial. They add a little bit of depth to that dial even. We have a train track, minute track around the outer edge of the dial printed in white. Some aged loom markings at the hour markers, also with elongated batons at the 12, 6, 9 and 3. The rest are filled by circular markings. Now it is loom, this one, so I am going to turn out the lights and we can get a little loom shot. We do have a sword style handset on this one with a nice stainless steel polished style outer edge, lollipop second hand with a lollipop counterbalance, which is nice to see. It does reach quite well over to this track. I do think the hands are well sized on this piece. Let's get that loom shot. As you can see on here, we have loomed handset. Now the outer edge of the dial on the markings is also supposed to be loomed. However, it's pretty bad loom. I mean, it is a field watch. You don't really expect amazing loom on them. However, I did expect a bit better than this. I thought I'd at least be able to see it. This is under the same test conditions as any of my other loom shots, just so you know. Yeah, not really good enough. Now, as we move past that pretty disappointing loom shot, we move on to the NATO strap that this is attached to. As I said, this did come with two separate NATOs, this khaki green one and a black one. I thought that this one suited the watch the best. However, the black one does give it a nice accent too, and it is nice of them to put two of these into the packaging for you. Gives you a nice option. As I mentioned before, we do have quick release spring bars on this. The strap itself is actually really well made, very well produced. It's a soft NATO. The stitching here is pretty good, and you can see that it's a very well designed one. Also, it does add to the aesthetic of the watch. You know, you could throw a standard NATO on this, however, I don't think it'd give it the same type of vibe. I really like the brown leather accents that the keepers give, and we have a stainless steel polished buckle on this one. As you can see, the Kuoe logo is etched onto the top there. Now let's pop this on wrists so you can get an idea of it on my 6.2 inch wrists. As you can see, very easy fitting watch to my 6.2 inch wrists. Now, my favourite thing about this watch is how simple and yet effective it is, especially with this wrist shot. You can see that it's a very simple design, very easy wearing design. It just does what it's supposed to do, doesn't it? And it's just, yeah, it's fantastic in what it does. One thing that I would have liked is a longer NATO so I could loop it back around, but you know, it doesn't make that much of a difference to me. I do really like the design of this watch. I know it's simple, I know we've seen it before, but yeah, it does hark back to those classic military watches, doesn't it? You've got to appreciate that, really. That being said, let's talk about the moan section. And there's a couple of things to cover. So, I don't think I've mentioned the price of this one. And that's because, well, we're at the moan section, and this watch is actually £203 on the Kuoe store. Now, I appreciate that they are Microbrand, and you know, it's an original watch. Well, it's their original piece. You know, it does draw a lot of inspiration from former watches, former British military watches, but it is their design in principle, I guess. So we do have to account for that Microbrand tax, as I like to call it. £203. Some people are going to be a little bit funny about that. Secondly, the mineral crystal, I do not mind at all. Yeah, it is what it is. I do prefer sapphire, but I don't mind the mineral crystal. The thing that I can't abide is them selling the sapphire crystal insert separately at $120. I think it's $120. It's something insane like that. I'll insert it here. I think really they should be offering the watch with that insert already applied for a little bit more money, not, you know, half the budget of the watch. I don't think that's really a fair price for them to offer at that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my personal opinion. Finally, they have actually stopped producing this with an NH35 movement. Guess what movement they're putting in it now? Yeah, the Miyota 8215. We have hit that point of the what I'm going to call the NH35 crisis, and we are now having Microbrands pack their watches also with a Miyota 8215. You can pre-order this watch for delivery between the middle of December and the end of December. They have sold out, but you can pre-order it again with the Miyota movement. I would like to think that Kuoe are going to move back to the NH35 movement, and I'd wait until they've done that, because I don't want to... Right, I'm going to say this. At £203, it's an expensive watch as it is. However, with the Miyota in it, it's ridiculously expensive. It's more than I can probably abide saying go get one. Expensive. I'd skip that. However, with the NH35, yeah, I can see it. It's a reliable movement. It's a workhorse, and service costs are practically nothing because you can just swap the movement out. Yeah, go back to the NH35, please, Kuoe. Please. Now, my final thing to point out on this, you may we've already spotted it throughout the review. The 12 is misaligned. I don't know if that's through, but I can't see it being through design. Maybe this is a piece that has not passed the QC and that's why it's come to me for free. Some companies do that, so that's a possibility. However, I am going to point that out to you. If yours arrives like that, do not accept it. Can't be part of the design, surely. Aside from the moans I have just listed, I know that last section was a little bit negative. However, I do really enjoy this watch. If this is your style, if this is your, if you're missing something like this in your collection, then it is the perfect piece to fill it. And I do really like the brand also. I think that they have a really bright future, especially with some of the other models that they have released. They're very heavily inspired by vintage pieces, and I think there's definitely a market for that at the minute. So I'm looking forward to the next piece that they bring out. However, I do hope that they fix the issues with this one. So guys, that is my review of the Kuoe Old Smith 90002. I really like this watch. The thing is, right, I've proper fell for the watch, right? Which we do as collectors. But then when you think of it logically, it's like, is it worth it? And then the sensation of the watch itself, yes, it's worth it. On paper, it's a bit iffy, but I absolutely love this piece. I really do. You'll know exactly what I mean, because we've all done it. We've all gone and bought a watch that we thought, a bit pricey that for what it is. And then you get it home, you put it on, you wear it for a day, then you get a month or two down the line and you've still got it on wrist and you're thinking, yeah, 100% worth it. That's what this watch is for me. So I think you'll know your type. You know your type, don't you? So if this is for you, then it's for you. If it's not, then it's not. But I really, really do adore this piece. That being said, let's get the NH35s back in. Let's sort out this bloody supply issue. I mean, if we're not gonna sort out the NH35s, move to the YN55, the Orient variant. It's the best option. Or the 821A. Let's just boycott this bloody 8215. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not. I've done it enough. I'm not going to do it again. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you'd like to pick this watch up, I do have a link in the description. Thank you again to Kuoe for sending this piece in. I would love to review any more pieces that you have available or any future designs that you've got coming out, because the vintage look is definitely a look that I can get on board with. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching this, guys. I hope to see you in the next one. I also forgot to say, by the time this video goes out, I expect I'm past 5,000 subscribers, so thanks. Yeah, incredible. Absolutely incredible. God knows where you've all come from. Don't know why you've all stayed, but yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Especially with all the support that you show. I mean, yeah, it's really, really humbling, to be honest. So, thank you.